The island of Sodor has many beautiful places. It has beautiful fields, white sandy beaches, and cozy villages. All the engines love passing through the beautiful landscapes of the island of Sodor. But there is one place the steam engines always want to avoid: the smelter's yard. The air always seemed cold as the sounds of snorting machines would all around. Worst of all, the line site was littered with rows of rusted cars, trucks, and engines. The smelter's yard is run by two diesels named Ari and Bert. They take great pride in their work there. And whenever a steam engine arrived, they never miss a chance to taunt them. Don't go near the cutter's torch. They might scrap you on sight. The engines knew Sir Topham Hatt would never scrap them. But all the same, Ari and Bert's teasing chilled them to their boilers. One cold night, Ari and Bert had finished their work and were ready to retire to their shed. They heard news from the workers that a lone mist would be coming into the yards later that night, but the diesels didn't mind one bit. And the echoes of the smelting machines danced in the air. Another good day's work behind us, eh? Rumbled Ari. Couldn't be better, bro. Oozed Bert. Suddenly, the conversation was interrupted by an unfamiliar horn. Rumbling over the bridge, a long, slender diesel slunk into the yard with a goods train. A long line of trucks groaned behind him. Hello, greeted Ari. What can we do for you, good diesel?
Good evening, good two. I have a special delivery for you both. He then showed them the thing behind him. The two Ironworks twins noticed a steam engine behind the diesel. It was old and rusty, and was covered in corona. They could see the controls and firebox.
Well, smiled Ari. This is my kind of surprise. We found him while we were cleaning up an old mine on the mainland, replied the diesel. We found this old rectangle on the weeds. Must have been forgotten when the mine closed. Scrap yards on the other railway are at capacity tonight. So I decided to bring him here on my goods train for you to take over for us. Thank you very much, chuckled Ari. I'll show you to the fuel pump. But move that rust bucket over to the shed. Bert didn't like being bossed around, but he complied as Ari and the diesel rolled away. He grumbled as he pushed the tenderless steam engine into the smelter shed. Stupid Ari, he growled. He could have brought this rubbish in here. As he rolled along, the old steam engine creaked and groaned. It almost sounded like laughter. Soon, Bert pushed the engine into the smelting shed. It was now time to cut up the old steamer. Bert began to smirk as he pushed the engine into the shed. He pushed the old engine towards the grabber, where it was ready to grab it and put it into the smelting pit. Bert soon uncovered from the engine and began to smirk. Who's got the last laugh now? He sneered. Useless old kettle? Is that what you think of me? Bert gasped in horror. He saw the faceless engine that he was pushing had a face. His face was smudged, dirty, and his eyes were weary. I'm far from useless. Ha! Snorted Bert. Another steamy in denial. You're a relic from the past. Diesels are the way forward. There's no need for you now. And what happens if you become outdated? Bert scoffed. Never gonna happen. The old engine then frowned. I used to be just like you, he sighed. I was delivered to the old mine with everyone telling me how powerful I was. They had another engine before me. On his last wheels when I came. When I arrived, I laughed at him. Not in your prime anymore, eh, old timer? You wouldn't have any work if it hadn't been for me. He coughed. This mine was built on my steam. And you have no more left to give. Now stand aside and let the new engines take charge. The engine sighed. Look at me now. I was invincible. Then the diesels came. I got a taste of my own medicine by then. You are modern, but for how long? What will happen when a more efficient engine is built? That will never happen, Bert spluttered. Deny it all you want, replied the engine. But I stand before you as proof of it. Time will go on and you will be replaced. Bert went silent. The words sent chills through his frames. Perhaps you shall show more kindness towards engines at their end. We've done our fair share of work, and we just want to go in peace, without your mockery and sneering. Bert said nothing. In fact, he couldn't say anything as he was frozen in fear. He was deeply infected by the engine's words. Suddenly, a horn sounded, and Ari came rolling into the sheds to check up on Bert. Bert, where are you, you numbskull? Where have you been? He growled. And who are you even talking to? It's the engine in front of me, Harry. It's alive. What are you talking about? I don't see any face on the engine. He told me this. He told me I'll be out of date one day. Here, he'll tell you everything. But when he looked at the engine again, he gasped in horror. He saw the engine was faceless. All that only remained was a smoke box door. Bert was in disbelief. No, he was... How? All that exhaust must have got to ya, Ari replied. Bert, however, didn't say another word. He soon rolled off to their shed and was quiet for the rest of the night. Bert is a different engine now. While he's still menacing, he doesn't taunt the other engines with threats of being scrapped. Whenever he goes into the smelting shed nowadays, he always remains silent as he thinks about the spectral old engine. I think his words will follow him for a long time. Don't you?